Okay, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready to start? Okay. So we'll start off with the public session, and we don't have any presentations from guest speakers, so we'll go straight to B to allow representations regarding planning applications within the civil parish of Anston, which will be considered later in the meeting. So anything about planning applications? Nope. Thank you very much. C, to allow one question per elector of the parish on a topic for which the parish council has responsibility or which affects the parish. Questions? Kevin?
I just wondered if you two people have been walking around the village and been asking a question on, they spent the time doing the hanging baskets, and you've been around and judged them, but nobody's ever been back to say whether anybody's won or not. And also, same with awards evening, that is normally in November, and you haven't had that this year. There hasn't been sort of any consultation with people that are involved.
So the garden competition and the awards evening.
Yes, it all rolls in together, really, doesn't it?
Yep. So we did judge the garden competition, and as far as I'm aware, the winners were notified. Correct? We'll double check, but as far as I'm aware, the Siobhan sent out emails notifying people who had won the garden competition. Awards evening, anyone?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Last year we held it in December because we were that pulled out with bonfire night that we couldn't get it organised. But normally, it's held November, December, and normally the grants are awarded. But we've only just done the grants for most of the uniform groups, etc., etc. And normally the awards for the gardens, hanging baskets are presented at that time. So and the awards evening is scheduled to happen. But it is, yeah. Well, it's been approved for this year. So the awards evening and the quiz. So somebody's got to organise it.
Stuart?
On the announcement of competitions and stuff, because the allotments competition is being well, it normally gets made public in the newsletter. But what has been working on this, supposed to have a newsletter in winter, but it's been done on that.
The winter newsletter has been done, so we'll double check. Yeah, I've written the piece. I haven't seen the rest of the newsletter though, so that's probably a question for Michael. Sorry, then. Sorry?
The newsletter.
Oh, is it up?
It's just in the vestibule as you come in.
Brilliant.
So when you say to tell pensioners in Belize that don't sort of have any contact with you, would it be fair to tell them to look at your newsletter and find results?
No, they're not in.
The results of the garden competition and things aren't in or won't be in the newsletter, but they will be in. We'll make sure we put them in the next one. We'll ask. We'll send a.
It has been decided who won and so.
Yes. Yeah. It's been decided. In fact, the winners should have been notified already. Obviously, if they didn't win the competition, then they won't have been notified at the moment. But we'll check with Michael because it will be Michael's producing it. Great. So we'll check with Michael.
I was going to say Siobhan normally I helped her last year, but I'm not chair this year. But Siobhan normally organises the awards evening, so I think we've got it down to be held, so it needs to be sorted out because we agreed that was one of the ways of communicating with the the groups in the parish, etc., as well as the quiz night. So it was approved at the budget, or beginning of the year, should I say? In fact, the May year. So it is there, but it's just not happened as yet. So
we'll put that on the agenda, and we'll contact Michael to double check that the winners of the competition's been notified. Any further questions, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't just again we've got this winter partnership scheme on the agenda for this winter, which is a bit surprising actually because this council seems to not really want to get involved with it. I can't really understand why. It probably would benefit council members if you want to be up and down, especially Liverpool, really coming up and down both the floor. I mean, basically all our story, when social paths come with a bit of
So last year, the council discussed whether to participate in the scheme or not, and I think the prevailing view amongst members was that it was something that RMBC should be doing rather than the parish. But I know that opinion was split amongst councillors at the time, so if anybody else, Jonathan, do you want to come in?
I think one of the main reasons was because part of the agreement was to have some secure shelter, and the cost was reasonable to pay for some secure shelter as far as I know.
And we have nowhere to store the
We've
grid.
got nowhere to store it.
Yeah. Stuart?
Yeah, that's right, what just been said, but we are discussing it later tonight.
So we'll,
the reasons, I'm going to put the reasons why. I mean, again, Mr. Pearson knows quite well, we bring this question up every year, and we supply the answers in discussion every year why we won't do it. And we've done that openly, so we're not hiding anything. I personally think they're sound ideas, and again, we are discussing it tonight, so then reasons for not doing it will probably be discussed again tonight.
But can I just add the reason that
Let me ask one question.
Sorry, we have to stick to procedure. It is one question. Do you have another question, Kevin?
well, if we're on the same line, we obviously said that in the past councils always said that.
Why are you allowing him to ask another question?
I'm not allowing him to ask another question.
Quiet tonight if you're going to follow the rules. And you're not doing it.
Right, next, any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, as I've already discussed with some of the councillors and the people in this room, the possibility of repositioning the Anston Borough Council stone further up the
Anston Borough
A57,
Council.
like the person tried to adjust it somewhat a fortnight ago.
So that's something, for those councillors who don't know, one of the entrance stones to the parish on the A57 was knocked over by a motorist. The clerk will have further details, and also caused this gentleman's garden some damage in the process as well. So pursuant to that, RMBC will obviously re-erect the stone for us, but I think the gentleman's point was, could it be potentially relocated? So this is one that we don't have on the agenda today, but if councillors just want to reply to that, we can, but if we want to relocate it, it'll need to come back to the agenda for another meeting. So I'm not entirely sure who had their hand up first. I think it was Stuart or Clive?
Yeah, I had a quick check with Drew, just message. I have in the past had a problem with that one down at Mill Lane, because it is very hard to see towards Toddler when you come there. On the side issue of that, when we cited them stones originally, we did seek authorisation of RMBC, and I think in one or two instances RMBC Highways advised us to put them in the position they are now. I don't see there being a problem at all at moving that stone somewhere better, probably further down towards Toddler maybe. The boundary line doesn't really come into consideration because it says welcome to the parish of Anston. But the stone's not on the parish boundary, so. But I think it'll be some time before the insurance is probably sorted out, and I don't think we'll be able to do anything until after the insurance claim is settled. Maybe in the meantime, if we're in discussions with RMBC, if we could just let the highways department know that we would wish to have it recited to more.
We have a figure from RMBC for
That said they will charge. They'll not be for free.
So I suppose we could.
They're proposing to charge us.
Yeah, they didn't put it in the first place.
Maybe that needs to be discussed with the insurance people then before.
I think the idea was that they would charge us and then we would recover those costs from the insurers if the insurers.
I don't see it being a problem. It's probably better to.
Clive.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't recognise Mr. Robbins down there. I haven't seen him for a long time. Evening, Des. You're right. Yeah, I know. I do know that bit of land and that that area quite well. See, as I used to live in the house. It was when we went through all these applications for these entry signs. They were dictated to us by either the planners or the highways, and they sort of decided where they should be sited. So I think where we wanted to put some originally, we weren't able to do it. So if you want to move that, then you're going to have to get approval from highways. I think we might deal with it. Ian Ferguson, somebody like that, and or planning. But I think it's mainly highways take a view on it. Ian Ferguson, yeah. And we paid for those signs to be installed originally in a concrete basis. So yeah, there will be a charge if you want them to resite it and put a new base. But again, it's really where highways will be the deciding factor as to where it goes or whether it stops there in that same place.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's one question. It's one question per elector. I'm afraid we can't allow public participation at this point. You can feel free to explain to other people at another time. The public session is now closed. Can members of the public not speak and interrupt the council meeting?
No.
This is, Chair, I'm standing up on
Please, Kevin.
What question?
Kevin, councillors.
Every single time we have a meeting, Chair, Mr. Kavanagh or Mr. Pearson deliberately interrupts our meeting.
Gentlemen!
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, please stop. The meeting is suspended for 5 minutes.
I'm in a council meeting. Every time I stand up on a point of order, because I believe that Mr. Pearson and Mr. Kavanagh may or may not be...
Once again, his name it is.
I am being permanently harangued and harassed, and it's in public, it's on camera, so if you want to carry on, Mr. Pearson, please feel free.
Why? Because
I'm being
you
prevented.
me for something I haven't done.
It is
You do it
not.
in every meeting, Stuart. I've had enough.
It is not appropriate for members of the public to
It says
interrupt
you're not
council
supposed to do it.
meetings.
From doing my job as a manager due to the harassment of Mr. Pearson. I regard his actions...
You see, there you go again.
Just adjourn
Listen,
it.
I'm just
Adjourn it for 5 minutes.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
The council meeting suspended for 5 minutes, so ask when it's...
You need...
Hey, you know what it was?
You cannot interrupt our meetings. This is against...
I never said a word.
When we're back in the meeting, feel free to propose
Go back
whatever
on
you
the
wish to
camera. Have a
propose.
look. You brought me into it.
Feel free to make a proposal if we go back into the meeting. The meeting's suspended for another 4 minutes.
Chair, just while meeting suspended, I'd just like to explain to you that nobody wanted to ask a question. All one of them, the public, whether it was me, actually just wanted to give a little bit of advice on them sides, because it was actually a bit of... We couldn't give you answers like that, but obviously they didn't want to know. Oh, do it.
You can't give the
problem. The problem is you.
The problem is, councillors around the state
Absolutely. Ridiculous.
will not support you. And even the chairman...
Ridiculous.
We did every stone that said answer. Yeah.
Just ask yourself, councillors, who just done all the shouting. It wasn't me.
Answer comparative. No, we considered answer comparative.
The meeting's suspended. We can go, you can make yourself coffee if you want.
There is no coffee or milk.
There is
but
to be coffee, there's probably...
bad news is the coffee or milk.
There's...
Well, it's irrelevant paper. I know it fitted it.
Yes, it was brilliant. I sent you the web link. Yeah. Councillors. The meeting is suspended, so she can while the meeting's suspended. But you could all wander off outside if you want while the meeting's suspended.
I'll go.
You've only got a couple of minutes of that left, though. When I open the meeting, I'm going to open it with an explanation of why.
The hallmark of the
About 5 minutes ago. You will, Colin, trust me.
Okay, ladies and gents, we'll start again in a second. Okay, so we'll leave the public session and we'll go into the council meeting. Before we start on agenda item number 1, I'd just like to remind both councillors and members of the public that council meetings are meetings of the council as a local authority. They're not a place for two-way dialogue between councillors and members of the public, or members of the public and councillors. If members of the public have got views or opinions, then they can ask one question per elector. They could ask in advance of the meeting to give a presentation to the council, and the council could choose to accept a presentation from members of the public, but questions are limited to one question per elector, and they're asked through the chairman, and members respond through the chairman. If at any point any councillor does feel that members of the public in attendance have any contributions to make, then they should go through the chair in order to do that. We can't have members of the public disrupting the council meeting, and also we can't have councillors disrupting the meeting or the public session. Certainly the shouting that we had earlier on isn't something that we should be seeing in a council meeting. Okay. If members of the public do have other points that they want to raise with individual councillors or with the council, they can do so by emailing the council, or they can speak to the councillors that represent them as members of the public before or after the meeting. Okay, so item number 1, to receive apologies for absence. So councillors Bentley, Wilkins and Ireland. Ireland Senior, obviously. The other ones here. Can we have a proposer and seconder for those? Multiple proposers and seconders. All those in favour of accepting those apologies? Thank you very much. Okay. 2, any items of personal interest or DPI to be disclosed for any item? Jonathan? 7.1 planning lists. Stuart? That will be towards the back of the agenda. 9.7? Yeah, I declare 9.7 will declare a personal interest as a person who sent the letter. Any other declarations of interest? Jonathan and Clive?
Oh, sorry, not interest. No, I apologise.
Okay. Jonathan?
No.
He's not interested.
I am interested, but none.
8.8 is my...
Okay. Christine?
Have we got a letter
That's the letter from the resident, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry? Great. Sorry, my hearing's still dodgy from a couple of weeks ago, but great. Okay. Item 3, to identify items which the press and public may be excluded. Just before the meeting, I had a quick look through the agenda, and I thought that perhaps 7.4, 8.7, 8.8, 9.9 and 9.10, because most of those are contractual.
Can you just read that list again?
I thought 7.4, Parkston House, 8.7, because that involved options and quotes, 8.8, which was the list of contractors, 9.9, which was...
Sorry, can I come in?
Yep.
Right, I'd like to put 9.2 into confidential session, because I wish to discuss, well, it will involve employees and other issues.
Councillors, anything else?
Possibly 9, 10.
9.10, yeah, 9.10. That was on the old library, yep. So are we happy with those? We can take them as we get to them.
So, and I've got one final one, 9.11. Because I don't believe we'll be able to have a sensible conversation, and I believe I will be prevented from taking part in that discussion.
Okay. Are you okay if we take that as and when we get to it? And we can vote on those as we go through. 4, to confirm minutes of the Parish Council meeting held on Wednesday the 5th of October. That is presumably it's presumably the 21st of November. Yep, it's all right. So minutes for the 21st of November. Anything on page 1? No? Page 2. Nothing on page 1. Page 2, Jonathan.
There was just the terms of reference for the ancillary green subcommittee. We actually discussed that because after the one down to Stone Wood went straight into confidential session. Which I did check on the UV before it wouldn't work as well.
So it went straight into confidential session.
We didn't actually discuss that one, so I need to go on another.
So that wasn't. So 10.10 wasn't discussed, do you say?
10.3.
Oh, 10.3.
10.4. 10.3 was done.
Okay.
Left on status quo.
Yeah.
And then straight up to
I thought we were moving both. I thought we were moving both stages.
separate agenda items.
Okay. Diane.
The letter from Radio Glasgow received and agreed for £50 grant to them and sent to the grant.
But we had a minute that said that it was, yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have Councillor Ryan suggesting that 10.4 was resolved not to amend. Stuart.
Not supporting the side, if there aren't any terms of reference for the subcommittee involved, so we can't amend them.
Can I just ask the clerk for clarification? Stuart, while I ask the clerk, are you able to?
Well, you're going to be delighted, right? Wait till you finish. I thought we'd agreed as well. I've got a note that they were both discussed together.
So we've got 10.3 equality of votes. So we went with the status quo. 10.4 equality of votes went with the status quo.
Yeah, can I suggest that? Can I suggest that?
I wasn't at the meeting, so I.
Just to make life easy, if you don't agree with it,
Sorry.
if we left it as status quo, so in effect nothing happened. If you want to put it on the agenda then for discussion, we can go through it again, and that will decide the outcome.
The only problem with that though is after 6 months, it's already cancelled, so we can't do it, discuss that stuff.
So do you want to propose that we amend the minutes?
Yeah, so
for that one. Does that have a seconder? All those in favour
Is that just for this particular?
of amending that minute?
Right.
10.4. So that's presumably to delete 10.4. So Jonathan's proposing that 10.4 didn't happen, that we, that we didn't resolve, so that we didn't resolve according to 10.4. So he's proposing that we delete that from the minutes and return it to the next agenda. The minutes record that there was an equality of votes. Yeah. To leave it as it was, to maintain the status quo. Clive.
I'll just look at my notes. Yeah, I've got 10.3 and 10.4 taken together. I've not written what actually happened, but I've rolled them into one. So I was of the opinion that, but I don't mind if we need to go back.
Sure. And Philip. Oh, okay. We'll just go back. We've got a motion. We've got a proposal on the table though, and it's been seconded, so we do need to vote it. But page 1, yep.
142.16.
Yep.
Item 9.1. Council Department to draft council social media policy.
Mhm.
I thought we'd had that.
We've had it. Members were asked to circulate their views on it. So we have had it in front of us. We didn't pass it. We opened it up for comment. So we have a proposal on. Oh, sorry, sir, go ahead.
With the proposal, if we're doing 10.3, let's get it out of the way. And go on to the
So this was for 10.4, wasn't it? No, for 10.4 to strike 10.4 from the minutes. It's proposed. It's seconded. All those in favour of taking 10.4 out of the minutes? 1, 2, 3. Christine, was that a hand or yep? 4. Okay. Any against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So against, it stays in the it stays in the minutes. It's actually on YouTube. Do you want to bring? Shall we hold these minutes over until the next meeting?
No, we've done the vote. We've done the vote democratically. If it's wrong,
At the moment it stays as it is. Yeah, it can. Okay, thank you. If anybody finds evidence, so the council's just made the decision that the minutes as recorded are correct, because that particular proposal fell. But obviously, if you then have YouTube video of evidence, then you're more than welcome to bring that to bring that back. Okay. And Anna's notes obviously record that vote as having taken place. Okay. Can I have a proposer and seconder for those minutes, please? Oh, Stuart has another proposal. Another amendment.
On the last item on that page, starting resolved item 10.10. You go down to the bottom, it's the second line up, it says, letter from resident dated 19/9/16, and 11 in the pack, to be sent to the staffing committee due to the abusive content therein. I'm afraid it wasn't, because one or two councillors made their own comments on that. It was actually sent to the staffing committee to be resolved, or discussed and resolved. So can I propose that we delete after number 11 in the pack and insert the following to the staffing committee for discussion.
To the staffing sent to the staffing committee.
All after number 11 in the pack and insert to be forwarded to the staffing committee for discussion. Should be pretty clear.
So Stuart proposes that we delete due to the abusive content therein, and replace it with sent to the staffing committee for discussion. Sorry? Because we did discuss the abusive nature of the letter. But the letter did contain some language that was perhaps inappropriate for a complaint. Because the resolution was effectively to go to the staffing committee. So it's whether it's, I think Stuart's point is whether it's worth antagonising people further by using the wording due to the abusive nature. Does that have a seconder? Okay, Miles. All those in favour of replacing that? Thank you very much. That's carried. Okay, proposer and seconder for the minutes, please. Clive, Stuart, all those in favour? Thank you. May took a while. Okay, can I sign and date them? Oh, yeah, I'll do them after they've been amended then. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll sign and date them after they've been amended. Item 6. Okay, so the Grants Committee met, so it's item 6, the Grants Committee met before the charity meeting and finance meeting last week. We don't have the minutes yet, do we, to approve. So this is up to members as to whether we want to ratify the decision of the Grants Committee now, or whether we want to wait for those minutes. A lot of members were in the Grants Committee. So we have to wait for... Do you want us to wait? That's a proposal from Councillor Thornton to wait for the minutes. Seconded. All those in favour? All those in favour of waiting to the minutes? Thank you very much. So we'll defer that one until we've got the minutes of the Grants Committee. Item 7. To consider planning and licensing matters, transport issues, and to receive reports. So list 41. RB 2016 1539.
Can I make a request, Chair?
Yep.
That we deal with the others and come back to this one, because this could be put in discussion.
Okay, happy to do that. RB 2016 1564. Erection of a rear conservatory at 43 Hawkshead Crescent, Northampton.
Can I just make a request? I don't want to start to Anna's increasing workload, but I know we get the weekly list which tells us things, but is it just possible to put at the side what the application refers to?
In the...
it says like 1539 for Harry Croft.
Yep.
Or whatever, but it's just so it's easier to bring it to mind than just looking at a number.
I think that's... Are you okay to do that? Yeah, he's just saying next to these just to put...
I do beg your pardon.
On item, on RB 2016 1564, erection of the rear conservatory, can I propose that we leave that to the neighbours?
Seconded.
Neighbours and planning.
All those in favour?
Sorry, Anna, apologies.
Thank you very much.
I know we just should have to read this side.
RB 2016 1579, which is a single-storey front and side extension at 17 Plantation Avenue, Northampton. Same again. So Miles, you're proposing leave to neighbours and planners. Seconded by Darren. All those in favour? Thank you. We don't have any on the other list, so let's go back to 1539, which is... I'll not read it all out as to the application. It's to vary conditions, etc., etc. Harry Croft Quarry, Worksop Road, and we have a copy which is 7.2 in the pack here. Comments? Stuart was there, then Miles, then Clive.
just for those council that are not too sure what this is, some years ago, the then Lafarge, which I believe is now Tarmac. What was Lafarge, I think is now Tarmac. Did apply for planning over the quarry, and without going into details, I can't remember everything, it was to do with the length of time they could quarry, how they would repair the environment around that area when they're finished, when they opened, when they closed, and various things. And this application is, as it says, to vary conditions, which basically what they're saying is we want to alter the original plans to read as what they're showing us now. It does have lots of implications, this, because obviously the quarry's been closed for a number of years. I've got concerns over several issues. One is the number of vehicles that will be reusing it. In their paperwork, they say they're estimating they're going to be moving something like 300,000 tonnes of rock a year. From my estimation, at 30 tonne per wagon, that works out round about 10,000 wagon loads.
Per year. Sorry, I'll put you on the list. Miles. Okay, yep.
Right, so I'm estimating a wagon takes 30 tonnes. I don't know, it could be 25, it could be more.
20.
Right. I was estimating 30 because I've driven wagons at 25 tonne and I thought you could go higher. Right, so anyway, just on my figures, to give you an idea, they may not be right, but I'll give the figures. At 30 tonnes, I worked out that turns around at 10,000 vehicle journeys. If the sum's lower, that's obviously going to be higher. Well, that's 10,000 journeys out and 10,000 returns. That's 20,000 vehicle journeys according to their own figures. That's one issue I've got. When they come out, and I think Clive might say more on this, when they come out of the quarry to turn left, they have a very, very short run-up to get speed up to get into the flow of traffic. I don't believe that run-up is sufficient enough. And turning right to go towards Worksop, they're crossing one of the busiest maiden roads, I would say, in Yorkshire, if not the busiest. So that, again, is not very good. The traffic has increased since this original planning application was put forward. We've also had paperwork over the last 2 or 3 years where it's shown that Rotherham are objecting to a brand new proposal to have an industrial site at Gateford, and the reason RMBC objected to it was on the grounds that the crossroads here at Southampton are not, should we say, up to the job, as it were. They were saying that that junction would need improving if the works, the industrial site, was to go ahead at Gateford. And also, what they didn't mention is there's also the Todwick site that is proposed to be an industrial estate. Both, I believe, are being mooted to be transport establishments. So again, that will affect the crossroads at Southampton. I'll just move on quickly. Prior to the closing down of that quarry site, we had numerous complaints from residents at Southampton who live on, I can't remember the road, the one next to Hillcrest, that faces onto the quarry. That's the one, sorry, Hawthorne. Every time they blasted, they said the houses were shaking. Now, I can't remember whether they turned the blast wall away or not, but if they intend to blast towards the village again, that will cause a problem. And one final thing I would like to see is, if they do gain planning permission, I think the community should have some form of gain from Tarmac in the form of infrastructure levy money, 106 money, or some form of contribution to the community, be it North or Southampton, for the disruption that they will cause to the residents. That's my penny for the time being.
Southampton in September, I think it was, and quite a few people turned up, SK58 birders, etc., etc., quite a few groups that put their fourpenny in as to what they would like to happen. I think from the original application, they've actually moderated it for opening hours, footpath diversion, etc., etc., etc. But I would ask members to go. I don't know how recently people have gone on the website and had a look at the planning application, but it has moved on. It's now, the consultation period has been put back to the 30th of December. They've had a list of petition of objectors from Southampton, I think about 80 odd people. They've had 8 individual objections from households or residences, and the other is a petition. I did have a gentleman from Southampton that came to my RMBC surgery the other week, and he was wanting some advice about objecting, and I explained to him about getting the numbers in so it would hopefully go to board and it wouldn't be an officer decision. If you go on the website, you can see all the objections, and what even the Highways officer is proposing some amendments because he's not happy with that, and he does propose a figure under section 106 for that junction where it comes out onto the road, about 10,000, and other highway signage and things like that, trees cut back, etc., etc. Problem is the A57 is dropping to pieces on that stretch of road, and there is a scheme, I think, being designed at the moment where that's going to be funded from. I would think it'd be, I don't know, it'd be Department for Transport, or whoever. But I agree with Stuart. The amount of vehicles coming out there is going to be incredible. They're going to go east or west. They've only got 2 ways to go. They go west, they've got to pull out onto that road, and as you know, traffic coming out of Lindrick Dale, they don't come at 25 mile an hour to give a lorry time to come out. But you've got a fully loaded lorry at 20 odd tonne of limestone on it. It's not going to come out at 50 mile an hour and get into the traffic flow, is it? And likewise, if they turn right, they've got to get across the traffic flow and pull right and then get a move on to go down to Lindrick Dale. So either way, I can see it being fraught with problems. This is 6 years since they last operated there. That road has changed enormously since then. Everybody that lives in Anston knows how busy it is. The traffic lights at the crossroads aren't up to it. They're supposed to be replaced, but I've been chasing that for a year and we've still not got any answer. It's North Anston and Woodsets are diversionary routes for the A57. If that road gets blocked going east, they're going to go west, they're going to go up through past here, along either Woodsets Road or Lawdons Hill, down through Woodsets onto Gate, because that is the only diversion route. And likewise, if it gets blocked the other way, they're going to have to, you know, there's still the diversion route in, because if something, we had the lorry that crashed the other year at Lindrick Dale, which broke through that bridge, that stone wall. Fortunately, it didn't lose its load into the river, but it was full of paint, and if that had gone in, God knows what a river right, well, we wouldn't have had a river right, and it would have been River Dulux or something like that, because it would have changed it totally. We were fortunate, but the road was shut for 2.5 days, so there was nothing getting down there. So anything coming from Worksop comes through Woodsets and Anston. Anything trying to get to Worksop goes through Anston and Woodsets, vice versa. So we're caught in a bit of a pinch point there, because if anything happens, if there's an accident or whatever, our 2 villages in Dinnington are going to cop for all this traffic. And we know that they're all going to be tarmac lorries that are full, that are going either east or west, plus all the HGVs that go on that road. And my view is that what they propose, and it doesn't take account of that crash, it's not even mentioned. They do a traffic assessment, and if you look on, I don't know, some crash data site or whatever that they get their information from. But that's not been updated since 2014, so whatever they're putting forward in mitigation is 2 years old at least. So I think there's a lot more to come. What I hoped tonight was, I did ask people at Southampton to come to the meeting and voice their opinions to us as to what they think, but there aren't any here. But if you go on the, as I say, on the planning website, they're all listed there. They've now put this back to 30th of December. I think that we should ask the planning department for a bit more time so we can consider this, because I think we need to put a proper document together if we're going to object to it. I think it's inevitable that it will get the go-ahead, because it's the biggest resource that Rotherham's got.
I'm sorry, Clive.
Minerals in this area, and they're going to. Sorry, but they're going to. It's going to get
3 minute maximum.
It's going to get through.
I'm afraid I'm going to stick religiously
what conditions you get to put on it.
So maximum speaking time.
Sorry,
I had me in the list. Just to very quickly, and then Philip. my opinion was I was just going to raise the point that, well, this would potentially secure jobs in Anston for
No,
up
it
to
won't.
50 years, with the caveats
What-
that have
what
already
jobs?
been mentioned.
There
So
are no jobs.
is it
5.
something to leave to
5 jobs.
Clive, please don't. Philip, was it? I couldn't. Was it a pen or was it? Did you want to speak?
No, no.
Oh, Philip.
Looking at this, thinking what they put forward is out to date. Because you read this, and yeah, they seem to be bending over backwards. Certainly, from what I've gathered, was from like 6 years ago. Especially A57, you know, the route is altered with a lot of different things. To me, going up the traffic lights is about there both days, driving left and right. If we have more vehicles on there, I think it's completely worse. And what a job to do is, if anything goes wrong, we're going to put more emphasis on Woodsetts Road, Lord's Hill. But those vehicles can't use the roads because their weight will be over. So it makes me wonder a little bit. Have they actually thought about the highway implication for the village? I don't think we've got enough information there, and I think it seems a bit out of date.
Stuart.
Yeah, just go back to what Miles was saying about we should look in a positive light. In a way, I agree with you. It might sound a bit strange after what I've said, but in principle, I don't actually disagree with the quarrying, because the quarrying's been going on there since whenever, for years and years, and the only complaints I've really heard was about the blasting. Well, the big concern is that road. From the M1 to the A1, or the A1M now, that is probably, from Anston Crossroads, South Anston Crossroads, over to beginning or even the end of Lindry, that's one of the worst stretches of road on the whole of the A57. It's never been modernised, it's never been nothing. I think this is an opportunity.
Sorry.
This is an opportunity for a council to.
Apologies.
It's okay.
I pressed the wrong button instead of a timer. I was
This is
counting
an
down.
opportunity for us as a council to make our views known that that road is not a suitable road. I mean, in some stages, there's actually some very steep drops into the woods. Is anybody else down to speak after me?
I think Diane. Yep.
We're going to make a proposal, but
My main concern is residents in Southampton. All the vehicles were not used in the A57 last time. They were cutting through Southampton, which is very, very narrow. They were using that. There is no application on here or no suggestion on here that they are going to limit them and no access will be into Southampton with the vehicles, that all their vehicles will leave via the A57. People in Anston were complaining, Southampton were complaining bitterly, not only about the noise, but the amount of dust and the that coming into their homes with these rumbling past on a regular basis. So, although, yes, we are looking at something that's going to inevitably happen, the impact on the environment, which hasn't been there for the last 6 years, is going to be really noticeable.
So we had Colin, we had Paul, and Stuart. Colin, do you mind if I take them in order of the people that haven't really spoken yet?
no, sorry, because I'm going to make a proposal
Okay.
to try and resolve some
Colin
of
and then Paul.
Quick proposal that Anston Parish Council object to this development until a full impact assessment has been made and reported back.
We do actually have
Is there a traffic assessment in there?
Yeah, it's not.
full assessment here.
It's
It
not
does-
sufficient. Highways have
Not
said.
sufficient. They've already said that it's
They've
not
commented.
sufficient.
If you read the
Highways have said
application,
that it's not
Highways have said they're not. They don't support. As it stands, they're not supportive of it.
So your proposal is asking that we delay or object until we've seen a full
Impact assessment.
traffic,
Traffic and residents must be included in the impact.
a full traffic, and then I'm looking for.
Okay, well, if I can just add,
Yeah.
the ecological officer at Rotherham has made a lot of comments. He's not happy with that, a lot of stuff, and there's also Natural England have put their forth anything about the Great Crested Newt, etc., etc. You what, sorry? Well, it will, but it's what conditions you can get put on it when it gets through to lessen the impact. And to me, they've only done so. They're going to do as minimum as they can, and it's unless they force it under planning conditions. But I want it to go to planning board, and I want a site visit out there before they do it.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm going to. I've been asked by several councillors to chair the meetings a little bit more firmly. And what happens is that councillors speak over each other. They interject. They speak at length. Paul's been sat there quite quietly. Christine was after him. Paul, if you could make your point relatively briefly, and then we'll go to Christine.
Just a quick one. The blasting, have they said how much or how often and when and how many times they are going to actually do it? If they do it, and how near will it be? Saying they will give notice to the people there. How much notice are they going to give them? Like an hour? So by the way,
we're blasting now, 2, 3, bang.
That's what I mean. Because obviously, I mean, I understand from Anston when I used to call there years ago when Lafarge had it, and I can remember the dust bowls from that used to go across, and the people on Iash Drive and the other roads there, you were all complaining about this huge pile of dust that was from terrace, especially in summer when it's dry. Winter, obviously, it was a bit muddy in summer, but the blasting, obviously, surely that is going to have a huge impact around there on the wildlife, stones, the properties as they get nearer to the houses. Honestly, don't know. I've never been privy to the blasts. Shame someone wasn't here that has
Christine.
I can't hear everything that maybe Paul kind of touched on it. Is there anything in the report about the triple SI?
Yes, it does mention it. It mentions Brook Walk, I think, and that area, triple SI, yeah, and you probably need to read through. The only way I can ask people to do it is read through it, because it's an enormous document and it's just trying to pick out the salient bits that you're not happy with. I mean, I should be putting my separate views forward, but I think there's enough objections already for it to go to board. But it's up to individual councillors. If they want to object to it, they can either vote collectively, or if you support it, you support it.
We could, I suppose. First of all, we need to make a decision under this item, and actually, if we can take also item 7.2, which is a discussion of the same thing. Before we do that, we just have to make a decision as to whether we support or object or something somewhere in between. So, Colin and Stuart were about to make proposals.
I've quickly worded a proposal up, see if it agrees with what you say, Colin. Right, that the parish council object on the grounds of traffic and road conditions, and that a full traffic assessment and environmental assessment be carried out.
Can you stick route in there?
What's
Barry?
Can you stick route in there?
Route as in...
Oh, you seconded. Okay, so that's seconded.
Make sure it doesn't go.
Right, the parish council object on the grounds of traffic route.
Traffic safety,
And Diane said, so the road is still got to be traffic.
through the side road
Well,
rather than
the reason I
Can't
says
stop
traffic
On your way.
that a full traffic assessment and environmental assessment be carried out, that will, if they do a full traffic assessment, that should cover the issue of going through Southampton.
Will it though?
I can't guarantee that, but pardon?
Is it a full one?
Yeah, that a full traffic assessment be made. What I'm trying to do is, it might sound again a bit funny, is the actual wording is not, I won't say mega important. The idea is we object, because if we object, that counts towards another 5 people objecting, which means it gets put in front of the planning board rather than the desk officer. And when it goes in front of the planning board, it is actually discussed, and they will ask the same question, well, hopefully they will ask the same questions as we are. They will ask the same questions. So I'm just looking, because Jonathan's on the, do you say you're on the planning board?
Jonathan?
Because really, I would have thought you should be here if we're discussing it, because you might have to discuss this at the Borough Council. Anyway, but the reason is hopefully they will ask the questions we're asking and recommend a full traffic survey, and if they do the survey, that will come out. I don't believe that road is sufficient, but I'm trying to word it so we can get an objection in. Well, the word is not massively important, it's the fact that we get it in front of the planning committee.
What we're saying is that
The Parish Council object on the grounds of traffic and road conditions, and that a full traffic assessment and environmental assessment be carried out.
What if we made it a slightly broader proposal? But, and we say that. We also say that the council objects, but it considers that the following points haven't been sufficiently addressed in the documentation.
Right, word it up then. There's no problems. We'll word it up.
Because we had a few impact on the triple SI.
Word it up.
We had Anna's writing as fast as she can. Impact on the triple SI and wildlife. The bats. Yep, the bats swarm in the quarry as well. We had traffic. Environmental. Yeah. Road safety.
Sorry? I don't know. They know that they're part of diversion route. They get it whatever.
Anything else, ladies and gents? So we've got roads, we've got impact on traffic volume, we've got impact on the triple SI and wildlife. Exits from
road conditions.
Traffic safety, road conditions.
Yeah,
Traffic lights are problem.
Turning right.
Environmental issues, i.e. the dust created from blasting. That is going to affect impact.
Turning right to Worksop.
Yeah, we would then specify
to put A57 traffic lights.
If we try and see the council wishes to object to their plan application on the following grounds, they just list everything. You can do it that way.
Couldn't you say the possible impact of the extra vehicles would have on the infrastructure of the highways in the surrounding areas?
We said traffic volume. Yep.
It's like the road. The road is not in good condition to start with.
Are we happy that we have enough points there?
I think so.
And then, are you happy for the clerk and I to tidy up the wording?
Right. So the proposal is to object on the parish council objects to the proposed application to vary conditions on
because
the following
it considers
grounds.
that the following haven't been sufficiently addressed in the documentation provided. The road safety, the impact of traffic volume and the turning right onto the A57, the impact on residents, dust and things like that, the impact on the triple SI and wildlife. Happy with that?
Yeah, and add that we would like a site visit prior to any
We'd like a site visit, please.
decision being made by the planning board, because I think it'll go to the planning board.
Go on, feel free. Yeah, it's your proposal, Stuart.
Right,
and it's seconded actually, but it was. Are you still happy to second that, Darren?
Yes.
As it stands.
I'll
So
propose
it's
it.
proposed, it's seconded. All those in favour?
Can I just add on to that? If individual councillors want to object, it's an advantage if you do so, because they have to receive 6 objections before it goes into planning committee. But the views you express are your own as an individual councillor.
Can I just say to people, you can use exactly the same format as the parish council decided. You can send it individually, or the clerk can put. If any council wants to put it, what they've done at Woodsets recently is they put the name of every parish council that wants to object, the name and address, and that counts as. It's the easiest way to do it rather than the individual. It still counts individual ones, but as long as you name, if you put Councillor Stuart Thornton, your address, and you use the same objections, then that counts as one. It counts as an individual one.
I want to put detail in it.
But as I say, the more the merrier.
So we'll go on to 7.3. So this is geophysical surveys at
we've
land
done this.
recreation grounds. So this is one that's been in front of the charity. Colin?
We've done this.
We've done it.
We've objected to it.
I think the charity.
No, we have.
We did many
We
months.
voted on this. We objected to it.
It's been in front of the council.
It came to the council
charity.
first, and then to charity.
Philip?
Just have one point to this, down here, because I can't end up trying to figure out what's exactly going on. I'm trying to listen to the council, we've got to be questioning.
We have had this before us twice before, and on both occasions we have opposed it. So can we deal with it and then crack on with it?
Yeah, we've done it.
Stuart, can I propose that we ignore 7.3 because we've already done it?
It's a new letter. That's
It's a
right.
new
So basically,
letter.
they keep writing to us.
Right, can I propose
Sod
then,
off.
can I propose that the council has previously objected to the geophysical survey and that the council
Reiterate.
reiterates its stance?
Seconded. All those in favour?
Is this going to be like a sort of begging letter that we keep getting, don't we? Wear us down by...
Are we happy to authorise the clerk to reply to these as and when we get
Yeah,
more of them?
yeah, we'll give it
Any
that
voices
power.
of dissent?
No,
Great.
just return to send.
Return to dissent. Okay, 7.4, we propose that it go into confidential.
Yeah.
Are we happy with that?
Propose now or do we?
Proposed,
I
seconded.
propose it
All those in
on the grounds
favour?
it's contractual.
Thank you very much. Yep.
What we're discussing.
7.5.
What's
to
mine?
agree a date and time to receive update from Councillor Jepson regarding the planning inspector's report.
Did I put a date on that, Anna, when I sent you that email? Did I say the 16th or 9th? When have we got a... I'd like to do it before a council meeting. I think it would be easier for half an hour before, just to bring people up to date. So it's a question which... When have we got them in January? I've not got anything marked in. Sorry, Christine. Yeah, I'm just trying to pick a council... When we've got a council meeting in early January, Christine, so I can do this.
Is this when the,
Stuart.
is this when the inspector's made his report?
No, it's... Well, we've got that meeting with him on
15, 17?
the 12th January.
Miles away then. Yeah.
That visit at Kivin. So,
Do you want it before then or after?
well, I'm thinking the 16th of January before the council meeting. Then I've got that actually written in. I must have been in front of myself here.
Just why,
Yes, that would be after that. So it'd be the 16th of January at 6:30 before the full council. Just to bring everybody up to speed on where we are with the LDP and what have you, so you're aware of where we.
no, I just want to ask Clive a question. You said regarding the meeting you went to RNDC that I attended, you're meeting the chap on the 12th.
The
Proposed
it's
travellers.
the traveller site down at Kivin Park Depot.
Yeah, could any council
No,
attend
it's
that?
all, I think it's it's the ones that were involved at the.
I actually thought he said at the meeting that anybody could come
I think
along,
you can to the.
but it's not to ask
It's
questions.
not. You could to the ones at Riverside, but this is a site visit purely with the inspector and Stuart and myself went on behalf of the parish council.
I think it's only my personal opinion because obviously I can't speak on behalf of the inspector. I think if you want to attend, I don't see it being a problem. However, I would suggest that you be discreet, as it were, and stand, shall we say, a distance away from the inspector. Because
You're going for stalking.
Here we go. I'm trying to
sorry, but you've been unfair to Councillor Thornton. He and I went to this meeting, as Darren was as an observer. But what the inspector doesn't want is a sort of like bonfire down that morning because he's got a few more visits to do. So he wants to go down there, meet people who made the representations at the hearings, and then he moved on to another one. So I don't know how many people will be there, but I will ask the programme officer if you particularly want to be there, if you can make it. I think it's at 11 o'clock.
Well, could you confirm that?
I will ask her the question and ask whether. Can you stop talking, please? I will ask her the question as to whether You know, may be able to attend, but not necessarily speak. He's there just to have a look himself and to ask any questions of us. And I think somebody from Thorpe's Albion Parish Council that attended that was there when you were there, Darren. But I will ask the questions. Yeah, but I can't. What I can't do, Christine, is invite every member of the parish council, because that's not what he wants to do. He just wants the people that attended to go there and reiterate, and just explain to him what their views are, so he can take it in. As I say, it's not a full sort of grand tour that he's organising. He wants to get round, and he's got other visits probably on that day as well.
Can I just
so
finish?
It's intended for the people that are there.
Finish the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make is I don't see any reason that anybody can't attend because it's a public space. The point I was making was, if you're there as should we say, in your capacity as a councillor, if you stand discreetly a short distance away, so you can probably hear, I think that will be acceptable. The reason I'm saying don't clamour and get close, because the inspector is on a formal legal job, as it were, and I don't know if it's the law, but it's the rules and regulations that only certain people are allowed to speak. Now, I would imagine, and I don't know myself, that the inspector will be asking questions and seeking clarification from points that were brought up in the meeting. I would again suggest, because I'm not 100% sure, that the protocol will be is, I don't even think the people who spoke at that meeting, I don't think they're allowed to speak until he asks them a question, or whether the people could ask a question at the correct time. So there's a bit of decorum that has to be had there, because he is doing a job for the government. He may well, if he sees people there, he may well just ask, who are you, and do you have a question? Well, that's why I was suggesting, if you want to go, it's a public place, but if you have a bit of discretion and stand a bit back. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Right, okay, that's it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
and then we'll take Darren.
Sorry, would you guide, would you attend, could we have a summary, could you send us a summary?
Well, I will. That's why I'm going to do that on the Monday following, because we'll have met him on the Thursday.
See what it is.
So the idea is I can bring everybody up to date.
Darren.
I did attend, obviously not as council in the main meeting, and I did ask them, and I think, and correct me wrong, if I haven't, I thought I had asked, why was it that only councillors, like Stuart and Clive were the only two that could speak? You were actually invited to speak as well at the council.
No, she won't. No. Anna, the second person is attending as purely backup to the other nomination.
The chap beside the chair asked Anna if she'd like to
Well, if
is that correct?
the normal protocol is that you have one from the body, and then there's a second person, which is the other attendee. There's only one can actually make representate or speak. I know you were there, but that's how it normally is. The reason I was there is because I'm one who's objected to it all the way through, and I put my four pennies in at the consultation. The parish council also admitted its objections, but Councillor Thornton went to the other meeting, so you were allowed to nominate. It could have been that nobody could have got from the parish council, in which case I would have represented both the ward council and the parish council, but Councillor Thornton went there, and the clerk was, you can nominate two people, one to speak and one as a sort of backup person. So that's the way it works.
It was nothing.
Sorry, Stuart. Have you actually relayed back to the council what was said at the meeting?
This is what's coming up.
No, that's what I'm going to do on the 16th.
Right, so they don't. You're not actually relayed the fact that the Swallowness side was turned down for the same reason that they wanted to pass.
Yeah, well, that's going to come into when we've been out there following that meeting. No, I've not had. You what, sorry?
I'm just wondering if the horse and the bottle, all the councillors should probably know now where we're at with that.
Well, we don't know where we're at, because he's not making his report until he's after done his site visits. The inspector, yeah.
The inspector, sorry, thank you. The fact that they put, a site was proposed in Swallowness.
And they turned it down.
They turned it down for two reasons. One, it was near a railway.
Well, they were more than that, actually, but...
Either yourself or somebody else mentioned that.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it in my submission that well, they turned that down, but he's got to weigh all that evidence up in front of him why the council turned that down. So there was one the following day for Swallowness, at which there was a planner from the applicant who had it turned down, putting their case forward for it to be reconsidered. Now, he's looking at all that information. he's not made any decisions about anything yet. But what he wants to do is go around and visit the sites where he wants more information, and that happens to be one of them, because it's the only one that's been put forward as a site. So there is no other option at this moment in time.
Is decision final?
Yeah. When he does his inspector's report next year, he expects that to be implemented by the council.
Can I just explain this?
Stuart, Clive or Stuart, through that. Sorry.
What was the question?
What was the other reason that the gauge to turning the plane down at Slowness? It was the railway.
Oh, they were quite. No, there were quite a few. There were quite a few reasons.
One of them was getting by. Can I just come in? Just quickly, this thing about me and Clive being at these meetings, nothing odd, unusual since it's historical. Me and Clive have been involved with the LDF since it began in 2012, probably 11.
10.
And there was emails going around. I think they went out to all the councillors asking if anybody wanted to speak. At the time, obviously nobody did. But myself and Clive were talking. The reason Anna was brought into the equation was Anna was, if I remember right, it was like a reserve, that if myself or Clive couldn't get there, because I think you were going on holiday at some stage, and Anna was there as a reserve, that if one of us couldn't get there, then Anna could go and represent our views. So that's all the reason why the names came up. There was nothing underhand about it. Yeah. No, but you're asking the question why our names and nobody else's were.
But what you can only do
Can we move
I'm just
on?
trying to clarify to Darren.
Okay, so to agree date and time, so I think that satisfies us as having received an update. If anybody does want any further update, Clive or Stuart can provide that. 16th of January at 6:30?
Yeah.
Are we happy with that? As a time to receive an update?
What are you proposing that, Clive?
Yes.
So I'll second it.
That's what Clive was proposing.
Yeah, so the meeting's on the 12th and then we'll take them.
And then Clive's going to report back. Miles? Oh, you were seconding that? Okay. All those in favour of that particular date. Thank you very much. So 16th of January at 6:30. Clive to update us following the meeting. Okay. So we are now on to item 8. 8.1. I've had 2 comments back about social media policy. Does anybody have any further points? If they do, please let me know as soon as possible, because I'll bring the final version back to the next meeting.
What were the gist of the points?
The gist of the points, I honestly can't remember off the top of my head now. I had one from Clive and I had one from Ben. Ben wanted to tidy up the wording a little bit. He thought that 1 or 2 points were... It was the draft, it was Yalk's or draft. He felt that it was a little bit too sort of legally phrased. Clive, what was yours? It came yesterday.
I'm trying to think what I put. One was about the deputy clerk that we don't have. So it was either that, do we nominate somebody else, or it was really how we deal with statements. Because I think it said that the clerk should make them, but my point was, do we have to get approval for what the clerk is saying, or is it run past yourself? It was really to clarify the sort of, I'm trying to think, the trail as to how it gets to that point. That was all, to make sure. Oh, the other one was, because we've got 2 clerks, and we've got one releasing or giving information on the charity, which is separate to the parish council, but obviously the 2 are interlinked as to how they perform. We were trying to make sure we got singing from the same hymn sheet, etc., etc. So it was just how those 2 work, because they could say we want statements about recreation ground, but obviously it needs to be, vice versa with Mike, and it's what he'd say, and yourself as well. And so it's like a triangle.
Using the comments that I've got, if anybody else wants any, I'll take those 2 comments, which are the only 2 that I've received. I'll reword it and I'll bring it back to the next meeting. Just to remind people, if they have any other comments, if you could send them to me in advance of the next meeting, and then we can ratify it. Sorry? Yes, it's defer. So 8.2, do we have any quotes yet?
I can try to get them closed.
You could try.
No, have we?
Yeah, we have. We've actually had a company out to inspect the equipment. I think, haven't we? Or have we asked them? We've asked them. We've asked the supplier of the equipment whether adding rubberised sheeting to it would do anything. And I think, if I remember correctly, the answer from the supplier was no. Adding rubberised sheeting wouldn't do an awful lot to reduce the noise.
Can I propose?
Sorry, Christine, were you in before Stuart?
Go on.
Yeah, I was just, I think at a previous meeting, Kevin suggested a cheap way of doing it.
I did, just remove them.
We're not in bloody dialogue.
If we want members of the we're going to just go by the procedure. I know it's slightly more formal. If we want to bring in expertise from members of the public to satisfy councillors, to satisfy process, and to satisfy members of the public, just propose that a member of the public. You can make the proposal now. You can propose that we.
Well, you can't remember, so I won't bother. Have we got any notes of his comments on that? No.
No, they wouldn't
So
be.
we don't know, sorry, it's not.
Stuart.
Can I propose, this item is now, how long has it been going? May? July, August, September, October, November, December, 5 months. Can I propose that we've had no complaints and nothing for 5 months, so can I propose that this item be removed off the agenda until we actually receive some positive information to move forward?
Seconded, Darren. All those in favour? Thank you.
No, moved it off.
So that one is basically it's just I think what Stuart's saying is that we do need to
we don't want to
forget
bring it
about
back
it.
until we get some positive information. So if we
RMBC asked us for an update into us as well as getting on with it.
well, it's not. It's with all due respect, it's got nothing to do with RMBC. It's our land and our responsibility, and it's up to this parish council to make decisions. RMBC have no hold or authority over us to do anything with it. So anyway, we've voted to remove it, so that's it. We don't. Sorry.
It does bring up the point about these items that constantly come back to us, deferred, waiting for quotations, etc. And there's enough experience and time available from people around this table that we could lend a big hand in things like this. If we do make a resolution, can we designate who the action is going to be taken by, and by when that action is going to be taken, and let's get it back to a council meeting and kill it, rather than this has been going now. We're into the 6th month on this, just rambling on and on and on, and it's not the only one, obviously. So I'd like to propose that if in future, if we do make a resolution, designate by whom the action will be taken, by when, how, if you like, and do it that way.
Officially, if we make a resolution, that resolution then becomes a responsibility of the clerk to the council to ensure that resolution is carried out. That's the official. Would you want it delegated further down? Or
yes.
Chris. Could I also have to that in some cases it's up to councillors to remember to put things back on the agenda because they're not being brought back on a routine basis by the clerk to the attention of the council. Anything that's not completely finalised at a meeting should be routinely brought back until it's finalised.
Which is what...
It causes me a lot of looking about, checking up, and then I remember something about 3 months later, oh, that's not come by, so I've got to put it back on the agenda. That is not great procedure. So just to add to what others can say.
Okay, so I think Philip's made a very sensible proposal that whenever we task somebody with something, we set a deadline and we make sure it's clearly recorded who is tasked with it. I just wanted to raise the point actually that that several councillors recently have criticised, and I'm not saying that you're necessarily doing that at this point, but we do need to be aware that the clerk's a member of staff, and that we've got a duty to make sure that the clerk doesn't have an excessive workload. She has done an awful lot of work over the last few weeks in particular, and it's certainly to the best of my knowledge the clerk hasn't deliberately left anything off the agenda and hasn't failed to bring things back when she was tasked with doing so, which is what she's done here.
Could I answer that, please?
Yeah.
I am in no way criticising Anna or anybody else. I am merely trying to put correct practices in place that will make it easier for the clerk and for everybody else. If we had a system of minuting that automatically brought these items back, I don't see a problem. But if there is a problem, I would like to hear it.
Okay.
Anybody?
I'd be in touch.
You agree? Thank you. And you are our expert for this. What you know.
Brilliant. Okay, so the original proposal was that we simply remove it. We haven't. It has been seconded.
It's been proposed, voted. It was voted on, was it not?
But we voted on the proposal to bring it back.
No, we vote. The
when there was
proposal
positive, when there was
to
positive
remove it.
information. Are we now voting on the proposal that's? Are you now proposing that we simply strike it? Because
I propose that we strike it off until we get some. I can't the word in.
You see, that will bring
You
it.
strike it off, and if there's any more information available, then they can bring it back. There's no point putting it on the agenda month after month
That's
if we're not going to do.
for it to be struck off.
I'm asking to be struck off because it's appearing on the agenda and nothing's happening.
I'll second that.
Fair enough. That's what we voted on. So we'll move on.
If you think it's important enough to bring it back at a later date,
Then it can
put
come back.
on.
Great. Okay, 8.3, which is taking part in the Parish and Town Council Winter Partnership Scheme.
Can I make a proposal on this?
Of course.
This comes up every year, and the biggest problem is we have nowhere to store 500 rocks. Nowhere to store it, nowhere secure, and nobody is going to walk up down the walk with a wheelbarrow.
Can I also come in? If you council have already got the paperwork in front of them, what actually happens is, it's all right saying yes, we will be part of a winter partnership scheme. I said it before and I'll say it again. What's happening is RNBC are making cuts to their budget for whatever reason, be they political or not. But the costs are being passed down to parish councils. This is a perfect example. Is they don't want to go around using their people and their vehicles to cover all the areas they used to. It's a case of costing it down. But it puts a big cost and a big health and safety issue onto us, I think. And let me just go and say what they're asking us to do. It says, in brief terms, that it would operate as follows. Your council will identify its own list of high priority highway, footpaths and pedestrian areas and supply that person at RNBC a copy of this. So first of all, as a council, that means we've got to delegate the work to the clerk, who's then got to formulate a fairly substantive document to where them roads and things will be identified. You would make the decision to clear the snow and ice from the areas and then deploy your own teams. Well, first of all, they're making us make the decision when to deploy people. So that again puts an onus, because we don't meet every day as a council, that again would fall on the clerk to make that decision, and I don't think that's acceptable. And then you would deploy your own teams. So again, that would employ the clerk to be then ringing around to contact everybody. And again, the clerk doesn't get paid overtime for this. So, or if she was to do all this, we'd have to pay overtime. Then it says, you would record the progress of your snow wardens on a daily basis and update the list of locations that they have treated. So again, the clerk will be in a position where she's having to report back daily to RNBC of what's happening and what's not happening. So, sorry, it's not rubbish because I'm reading. Please don't interrupt. Right, please. Right, I haven't finished yet.
We are not going to pay.
I've not finished. I've not finished despite the...
Okay, I'm going to stop the discussion at that point, and point out that members of the public mustn't interrupt the council meetings. Can you take this as a warning under standing orders that, if you wouldn't mind, Kevin, please, don't interrupt the council meeting? Carry on.
Right. So, it would employ the clerk to be working and possibly doing overtime. You would send a copy of these records to that person on a weekly basis. So not only is the clerk having to report on a daily basis, which, as you know, it's not just a case of 5 minutes speaking to Rotherham. It normally spends half an hour getting through. So not only do it on a weekly basis, the clerk is on a daily basis. The clerk would have to do it on a weekly basis, and this is for health and safety purposes. Quite rightly, Colin, we haven't got the right accommodation anywhere to supply the salt. And regardless of what they say about we train you and they're all covered by our insurance, I don't think so. Our insurance would have to be altered as a parish council. We don't come under RMBC's insurance for anything. We're an independent council. That's why I'm going to propose that we don't, for another year, that we don't opt in to the parish and town council partnership scheme. That's my proposal.
Sorry.
I was going to say, you just mentioned another point there, Sean, which I think is abnormal. Because you're not saying, well, you cover by insurance. Might if we miss something? Let's say that though, the child goes down.
We can't do both.
In this day and age, we'll say, who's responsible? Oh, we're going to sue. Now, we are independent, I gather that from the RBC, so I don't think we'll be covered by the insurance, and if there's anyone to be blamed, why should we have the responsibility as a parish? I'm sorry.
We
haven't got any snow roads.
I have to agree. Do you mind if I just come in?
Yeah, sorry.
I have to agree, actually. It's not really a partnership scheme. It's a bit of rock salt in exchange for a lot of commitment. And a shovel.
Pairs. Several pairs.
But it actually places a lot of duties on our staff. Perhaps one thing to do is to write back to the council and point out that we don't feel it's enough for the partnership. And actually, would they be able to offer something or consider... We're not. I don't think we're particularly averse to being a partnership for this, but we haven't got anywhere to store the salt to start off with, and actually we don't have the time for our staff to really be taking part. Sorry, feel free, John.
You got to look at how many times it snows here. I think last year we get a couple of times about an inch of snow. So really, on that side, I like this work with actually going into it. And again, as you say, the storage of the salt. But each individual can volunteer as a salt warden anyway.
Should you not declare an interest, because this is an RMBC issue? Can I ask the public to stop making comments when I'm speaking?
Sorry, I didn't hear the comment.
So I was going to ask you to remind councillors to directly come to do so.
I don't.
Quite standing on, but it's fine. But yeah, people can actually volunteer as a snow warden themselves, which I do myself, which at the moment it's not snow, so I'm not putting it.
You have to be trained as well as a snow warden.
Councillor Thornton did actually direct a question through the chair there. Do you want to raise it, or...?
No, I've just said it should be declared an interest, because it's an RMBC scheme, an RMBC issue, and it's part of an organisation of RMBC who pays him expenses to act on behalf of RMBC. So I think that is a declarable interest.
That applies to me, but I'm not declaring interest because I'm taking this as a parish council matter, not an RMBC one.
That's up to you as an individual, but you know my views, Clive, and I've tried to get it clarified. But when we've got a monitoring officer that won't clarify it, what am I supposed to do?
I'd just like to say that I don't bring politics into parish council meetings.
No, you're an RMBC councillor, you haven't got no choice.
Been dragged in again for some reason.
Because you should be declaring personal interest.
No, all I'm
I do.
saying is the time these issues are done by, very quickly, these issues are done by officers of the council, which is an officer of council. So
okay, so I think we have a proposal from Darren.
Yeah, I propose that we don't accept.
We're not equipped enough to do it. Where do you decide your area?
Do we have a seconder? Seconded. All those in favour? Thank you.
What's the other time now,
8.4 to discuss Woodland Avenue consultation from Highway Inspector 1910.
Can I come in on this first, if I may?
Of course.
It's dated
And then Christine. Oh, actually, Christine, were you first? Yeah, sorry, Christine. Hand up first.
In my opinion, and my long experience on NBC, I think this is going through the motions. And personally, I wouldn't give it a minute of my time, because I think
what are we on
it
about?
will be one of these, well, we do the paperwork, we tick the box, but nobody really takes any notice of the answers.
What are we talking about here?
Who was that highway flow Clyde who came to Newington Town Council meeting?
Steve, I don't understand where you're coming from with this, Christine. We're not, it's just to tell us that they're going to resurface Woodland Avenue.
Yes, he's asking all it was, the suggestions round the parish, is it not? Or was that in a previous one?
No, I'll be discussing the proposals and obtaining residents' views and comments on the project. I would welcome, he does actually ask, I would welcome any comments that you may have on the project or any further works which you feel may improve
I've
the
sent
area.
one. Get on with it.
The words that I object to,
Yes, sir.
I don't think to take a slight notice. The bloke who came to Newington Town Council could give no information on further plans for
Stuart.
Newington, so I'm sure it is
Then
no
Clive.
good for Amsterdam.
Stuart Clive
Just
and then
making a
Kevin
quick
Raps
point.
one
The
up.
point I was going to make out, this letter was dated the 19th of October, it's now the 19th of December. I haven't been down there, but have they already done the road?
No, it starts in January.
Yeah, this is the problem, you defer stuff, this will get backlogs.
Starts in January.
Is anybody else to speak? If not, I'm going to make a proposal.
Can I just,
Make
for
a proposal
Christine's
to get
benefit, it's due to start in November. This is a standard letter they send out. I get a copy, Jonathan gets a copy, the Parish Council gets a copy. It's purely advisory. If anybody has got any comments to make about it, such as, will I be able to get in and out during the day when they're doing the work, etc., etc., that's what it's basically about, to make sure residents aren't inconvenienced and plan the work around it. There's also, as Drew said, any other list. I put this forward about 18 months since Woodland Avenue, along with Woodland Drive, which has been done, so, and Rackford Road. Narrow Lane is going to be done next year, so they're finishing all that area off. There are some more works planned in New Year, I think Cranfield Road, Pennyfeast Lane, some others, so it's an ongoing programme.
And it does say, any further works which you feel might improve the local area.
Yeah.
That's the bit that I object to, that the one that I think they take no notice of.
Got enough paper.
You quite. I send them in on a regular basis. I think the areas they're doing. There's Back Lane, there's High Street's going to be done next year. There's Sheffield Road going to be done next year. But the idea is that it's a continued dialogue. If you think a road wants looking at and you think it might be worthy of resurfacing, send it in and they'll have a look at it. If it is, they'll do it. Try and do it. If they don't think it is, they'll not do it. Well, I have, because I've used the system and it does work. If you keep putting requests in about roads, they will look at it, and if they think they're worth, at that point in time they're worth repairing, then they will do them. That's all it is.
So I make a proposal. My proposal is that we receive the letter regarding Woodland Avenue
That's all you have to do.
consultation and ask that if individual members wish to take up the issue, contact the person in the letter.
Okay. Happy with that? All seconded by Miles. All those in favour? Thank you very much. So, I'm conscious of the time. We have quite a lot of stuff to get through in confidential session, so we'll try and get through as many points as we can here. So 8.5 is to receive a letter from Radio Nightingale. Now this is something...
We received the letter and it's gone to grants.
It's gone to grants for consideration.
For me to come on 8.6 now.
But we had it minuted that we'd approved rather than received. Are we okay just for the sake of procedure?
Just to receive.
Are we okay to take this one now? Just because there was a bit of confusion over the minutes. So does somebody want to make a proposal as to whether, so it's a letter that we've received from Radio Nightingale. It's outside of the sort of the normal grants remit at the moment. So we either have the option of saying, no, you've got to go and fill in a grant application form, or we have discretion under the 1972 Act to award them a sum of money or to say no at this stage.
Can I make a proposal that we write back to Radio Nightingale informing them that we have changed our grants procedure and henceforth all requests for grants must be done by an application form enclosed therein. Does that work?
Any other comments? Philip?
I'm loath to say, but this agenda item is to receive a letter, and we've gone ahead and.
All right, I'm with you, right?
Not casting aspersions by any means, but.
Right, yeah, all right. I'm happy. If you want to receive it, just receive it.
Receive the letter. We can receive the letter and write back to them informing the change. That's not a. We want to agree an award. So, are you happy to propose that we receive the letter and write back to them informing the process change?
Let's be consistent. Yeah,
I thought in the grants meeting we actually said that we were going to grant them £50.
We didn't take it, did we? Because we thought that it was minuted had already been dealt with by.
I thought you were discussing it.
By four council.
I'm not sure.
There was another letter. Which was from.
We didn't take one letter which was from the Methodist Church.
We asked the Methodist Church to write to fill in an application form.
We asked them to fill in an application form. I was under the impression we'd actually agreed that this was going to be £50.
So we have a proposal on the table. Second that. All those in favour? Okay. So that's basically to receive the letter. To write back to them briefly before. Yeah.
The other proposal would be that when you send in the grant, say that in the future if you wish to apply for a grant, please do so on the enclosed form.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. 8.6. Are we happy to receive?
Can we explain this briefly?
Okay, to explain this briefly.
Right, I think most of you have seen the emails. Basically, the government policy used to be that big local authorities, i.e. like RMBC in our case, they couldn't put their council tax up more than by 2%, and if they did so, it would subject them to a referendum. It was then mooted that should also be brought down to parish council level. The Yorkshire Local Councils Association, which is like our body we seek advice and things from, as a group, they were making their views known to NALC, that they objected to the level being brought down 2% down to parish councils and town councils, and NALC appeared to have successfully lobbied the government, and I think it's today, or emails have been out to say that the 2% cap on parish and town councils will not be going ahead this year. That's it briefly. So it's just
in summary, the 2% cap on the preset won't apply this year.
But
they're going to put it up for social care bill anyway. So
they will keep an eye on high precept. If you're sticking up 30%, I think they take a dim view on it. But
I think the audience will be full of people objecting as well.
So we're up to 29.
Are we happy to? So we have discussed it. We don't need to take any action under that one. Do you want us to receive it? Yeah. The clerk would like us to receive it.
I propose that we just receive that email.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favour?
With no further action.
Thank you very much. Received. Just for procedure. Okay, into confidential session. Are we happy to take 8.7 into confidential session?
Do you want it proposing?
Well, if there are no quotes, it can be deferred again.
Do we have any quotes? Sorry? We have got quotes. Yeah.
Right.
Normally,
So it's not
normally if
going
we're
to
discussing
confidential
quotes,
session.
it would go into
I
confidential
propose that
session.
it goes into confidential due to contractual nature of the item to be discussed.
No, we vote on each item, we
Agreed,
take
but
each
you have to
item as
vote
we
on it.
go. It's slightly cumbersome. So, yeah, it's been proposed. Is that seconding? All those in favour? So that will go into confidential session. So you've got quotes. 8.8, are we happy to take 8.8? Yeah, proposed, seconded. All those in favour for 8.8, because that's a list of contractors.
That's never been in private sector.
No.
It is now.
That's never been put in
But
private
Can't speak.
8.9. Councillor Sadler to discuss Councillor Wilkins' computer programme.
Just council.
It's at a staffing meeting that Richard offered to help deal with, offered to help
Is it?
with the
It's not here, is it?
programme.
It's not here. I can't. It did mention something,
Right, so...
and I can't remember what it was. It was what was the programme for?
Computerised management plan.
All right.
and control.
If I've got it right, did he say that? He said yes, and he would do it.
Phillips just said it was a computerised management tool of some sort.
Yeah, was it from...
Planning the working day.
It's project management software.
Well, it's not here, so there's not a lot we can do. is there?
Prince 2 or Microsoft, whatever, did all that. You want to forget about it.
So can we put that on the next...
Yep. We're happy with that? Defer until he's here.
Can we put that on for next month?
Yep. Do you want it going to staffing committee or to full council?
We should
I think it has to come, we decided it needed to come to the full council.
To full
Right.
council.
Oh.
For the council to approve the use of it,
I think
for
it.
him to,
Right. I think what it needs to come in front of the staffing committee
but it
for him, just so he can tell us what it is, how it works, whether it's going to, so we can have a chat, see if it's relevant, and if it's a good idea.
No, he said it was good.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it. We don't know what it's going to do.
Well, he did talk about it, they're going through it all again, so it
We
can
don't
come
know what
back
it is.
again.
So what does it do then, and how does it
I
work?
don't know.
Well,
Is it project management software? Is it like you were saying Prince 2, something like that?
I don't know, he didn't,
No, that's what I'm trying to say.
elaborate
We
on
didn't-
it, True. Something.
I'm looking at Diane because Diane's nodding in because we didn't have a proper explanation of what it was.
Proposal on the table. Is that seconded? All those in favour?
More or less.
Can I just get, it was a very, very quick show of hands. Can I just check just for procedure? All those in favour of bringing it back to full council? Thank you.
Will that be on next month?
Yep. If we get to it in the agenda. Okay. 8.10. Councillor Thornton regarding funding
Right, it's
for
only
Lichgate.
a quick update because I'm conscious of time. Right. A couple of years ago, I was authorised by the council to look into the funding to do repairs to the Lichgate. Surprise, surprise, they agreed to it. Earlier this year, I put the pre-application form in with lots of documentation that we had produced 2-3 years ago by Andrew Shepherd. The long and short of that at the moment is they've replied to the pre-application and they've, and I'll use the term loosely, they've indicated that we could be eligible for grants for repairs to the Lichgate. As a result of that, I've now got to fill in what we call a proper application form, but that's not as simple as what it sounds. Before that happens, I'm going to have to find information out from the church parochial council. That's to do with ownership and authorisations, and we've got to appoint a person who is fully qualified on, shall we say, ancient monuments and procedures, which I believe this Mr. Andrew Shepherd is, who did the initial report for us. I believe he's qualified to do that, but I've got to send a letter to him just to confirm that. But I've had permission off the War Memorials Trust that if he is qualified, because we've used him before, we can use him again. However, that's subject to what the answer comes back. The next stage I've got to do, and I haven't started it yet, is there has to be a full, and I can't think of the word, but a full specification of what needs doing. etc. So basically, we've got to put together a document. I'm hoping Andrew Shepherd can help us with this. A document of, like, say, remove stone, scrape out lime mortar.
We've got that.
And, we've not got it in detail. We've got it. Well, Clive says we have, but I'll double check. We've got the basics.
No, we're updating though.
Right, once updated. But once we've rewritten that spec, and we've got the spec, it will then have to go out to 3 approved tenders, and again I'm going to have a list of who the approved tenders are, because we've got to use specialists. There's permissions there to look at, they're going to fund some of the ironwork on the gate, the inside of the arches, and I think the 2 immediate metal fences side of it. They will not fund the lighting that we tried to get done. They will not fund the fencing and the outside areas, which I'm going to try and work with Clive on that one. And there was something else they're not going to fund, but it wasn't major. So basically we're at the stage where I'm now going to start doing the specification, and then it will go out to tender to certain companies, but before it goes to tender, it will come in front of the council for approval to be sent out for tender. And of course, when the tender process starts, we follow the standing orders for tender processes. Any quick questions? Go on, Dan.
If you have been watching the South Yorkshire funding sites, there are 2 funds available at the moment. One is for church maintenance, and one is for war memorials.
Right, we are.
So those 2 funds are available on that site.
We are in touch. The War Memorials Trust.
But I don't know whether it's linked to the War Memorials Trust or whether this is a different funding of money that is coming from somewhere else specific for War Memorials.
Right.
You need to have a look at that.
What they've said, they haven't said we can have the funding. What they said is we're now on to stage 2, which is more than likely, if we present the right figures and do the right job.
But there's also a site on there that says there's funding for church maintenance, etc.
The problem is that the Lich Gate belongs to the council, not the church.
Right. Can I just say, is the original figure, because it's not a secret, I don't think, is it the original figure? Right, the original figure we was looking at for the full repairs we wanted doing, which did... I think we've had it in the public... I understand what you're saying. I think it's been out in the public domain already. The figure will change anyway. The original figure that was estimated to do all the repairs we wanted, and I don't know if was that fence involved?
No, it was separate.
Right, without some of the major things like the fence, the original figure was approximately 30,000. Now, because they've said they won't fund certain items, it will come in under that. Now, part of the deal is, you can ask me questions later because I don't get too complicated. Part of the deal is we will have to pay a certain percentage of that figure. But it's been indicated that that figure we will have to find as a council can also be looked at and sought from a different charity funding. So when we were doing the budget this year, that's why I wasn't asking for the money, the extra, so we say $7 grand, whatever it was, because at this stage we might not need it. But the process, that's an update. I'm following the process, but the process will come through the council as and when necessary for various permissions.
Well, Andrew Shepherd is the diocesan architect for Sheffield, so it all falls under his remit because he's done the proposed extension to the church.
Does he run a construction company as it were?
No,
that's
he's
he could
architect, independent.
So that's a brief update.
For the, I was going to
I was going to say, obviously the application's well in hand, so can we, I propose that we receive the update and...
all those in favour? Seconded by Darren. Thank you very much.
Like I said, I will be coming back because I need council to do certain things, to do certain give certain permissions. Like if Mr. Shepherd is willing to do the job, I need the council to approve that.
Fees.
Yeah, this one's saying.
Sorry, Jonathan, are you commenting on that?
No, we've got 9-1.
Yeah, 9-1. Can I propose that we receive the letter of thanks from Macmillan? Jonathan, are you going to second it? Thank you very much. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, so 9-2.
Can I propose that this goes into confidential session? Because I wish to talk about input from staff. And any time we discuss staff, we should...
So it does have a staffing component to it?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Seconded. All those in favour? It's the council resolved to build composting bays, but there are knock-on staffing consequences, which is where the senior administrator has drawn it to our attention. There's nothing contractual in there, it's just how we allocate the staff time really to look at it. It could go to staffing committee, but it's probably quicker if we resolve it.
I want it in confidential. I want to give an explanation of what happened, what, why, where and what happened. And then if you think at that point it needs to go to staffing, by all means propose it.
We have a proposal. If you can either vote for or against it, so does it have a seconder? So the proposal is to move it into confidential.
Yeah,
Sorry, seconded by Philip. All those in favour? Sorry?
Yeah,
Yes, please.
Yes. So that goes into confidential session, but it can come back out. Okay, at 9:03 we've got 3 minutes. Can you do it in 3 minutes, Clive?
I've done it already. I sent it to Anna, an email. Why nothing has happened yet? Because we've only had 2 members of staff for a considerable amount of time.
Could you give us a quick
we've only had 2 members of staff. I don't know when Dave got back to work. But last week, so we've only had 2 members of staff for nearly the last 3 months. Why it's not progressed, and he's only just returned to duties. Plus, we've had other issues. He's on light duties anyway, so it precludes him from digging holes and things and moving barrows about. And we've the clerk and staff have been involved in other issues over the last month. So that's the reason that it's not yet. But I will meet him in January and try and sort it out. But there's been no point while there's only been 2 members of staff.
Christine Stewart.
So, are you telling me it's not being done because the staff haven't had the time?
No, I'm saying there's not enough staff.
Right, well, same thing.
No, it isn't. It's different. Oh, it's different altogether.
Is there any difficulty with it? Is it going to go ahead?
No, it's not going to go ahead, but I've not been able to progress it because we've not had enough staff to take it on for the last 3 months.
I'm not being awful, Clive, I'm just trying to nail it down.
After
all these months of waiting, and that, if you'll excuse me, labouring the point, if that had come back on every agenda following, I wouldn't have had to put
I did.
again. It was not finalised by, and it should have kept coming back to each meeting until it was finalised.
Okay.
I have to remember again to put it on the agenda.
Well, I haven't forgotten it because I know I said I'd do it, but I can't do it when we've got no staff.
You've not forgotten it.
Oh no.
Darren,
Good.
Stewart, Diane, and then can we close? It is, yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. No.
This is up to the bowling green, isn't it?
It's not taking the chippings at all because there's no point putting them down because of what you've got as surface. So I want to discuss with the staff other options as to what we do.
Excuse me, that's not what was said.
It is, Christine. You went up there with me, and I told you what we were going to look to do.
And I thought we'd agreed to do it in the middle.
No.
What
Right.
did we agree then?
We didn't. I said I would discuss it with the staff, which was the best option.
I was going to just ask the question. I'm going to ask 2 questions now. The first question is, when did we first approve this to be done? It was months and months and months ago.
No.
It was Clive's advice.
Right. So in effect, we've approved a resolution to put down limestone chippings wherever it was agreed at the time. So you can't just change it now, Clive.
Well, I'm not changing it.
You just says you're going to speak to the staff for an alternative issue.
No,
you can't. We've passed a resolution.
Limestone chippings all the way up there is not the answer.
We passed
it might not be. Right.
Can we be quiet, please? We passed a resolution that Councillor Jepson would investigate the remedial action. So we didn't the proposal on the agenda was to put limestone chippings up there, but a few of us did go up, and Clive's the sort of expert on these sorts of topics. Clive went up there, said, actually no, limestone dressing across the whole thing isn't the right thing to do, but there could be areas that we would fill in. We tasked Clive with going back and investigating what could be done with the track and bringing it back to council. Diane?
Right. We have received an update from Councillor Jepson regarding the line chippings. I propose we move on to 9.4.
Okay. Well, I'm not being cross-examined by you.
Can I just finish off what I was saying before? Right. The fact remains, we passed a resolution to put the chippings down. There was a resolution for you to look at it, Clive.
Yes.
But since then, nothing's been done.
No, because
But
I'm not going to sit here and be cross-examined by people.
I'm not going to go. I can cross-examine if you want, but I'm not having a
No,
go.
I'm not.
Right, the point I'm making is, this is another issue that we've had outstanding for months. I don't accept the fact about not having enough staff. This has been on for months and months, and it boils down to a management issue of when people manage time. We always come up with the excuses, the staff, and we haven't got full staff this, we haven't got full staff. People are paid to manage the staff, to get the jobs done and do them in priority.
I'm not paid.
Before
So,
anybody
as it stands
replies,
at the moment, there's a resolution that limestone chipping can put down.
I'm not
When it
there.
changes, Clive, you've got to put it back on the agenda.
Right, I just before. Do you mind if I just? You've been waiting very patiently.
Somebody else can do it then. I'm not bothered.
We'll double check with the minutes, but
Forget
my
it.
recollection of that meeting is that the council didn't actually resolve to cover it in limestone chippings. It resolved to ask Councillor Jepson. It resolved to ask Councillor Jepson to come back with more information. Now, admittedly, for all sorts of reasons, Councillor Jepson hasn't come back with that information yet, and Christine's reminding us that we haven't done that. Philip.
But we did.
Oh, jeez. No, we.
What you just said was right. Mr. Jepson, Councillor Jepson's dealing with it. It's obvious from all of it. You've had traffic problems. He's over it. It's been dealt with. Let's get on with it. Let's move on.
Christine and Philip, the final word, please.
Right.
Can I-
My recollection of inspection
Don't recollect.
side,
Yes.
Councillor,
Can I just say, a resolution was definitely passed that that path would have limestone chippings on it, and we even specified the number of bags of chippings
How do we
required.
know?
4 bags. It laid unattended for quite a while. We then got an email from the senior administrator saying, my lads have looked at this path. If they put limestone chippings on, they're going to spread onto the recreation area, this, that and the other. So for that reason, we recommend that, it's not done. And that's when we stepped
I
in
went
and
up and
said,
had a look.
you have a look.
Yeah.
But a resolution was passed for it to be done, the work.
So it should
But
have
then,
been-
yes, of course.
And if it-
no.
I'll have to make a proposal, you don't have to agree with it, Christine.
Well, yeah,
I
but
don't agree with it.
get your facts right.
I've got one on the backside, you're wasting your
Have
money.
you walked
Yeah,
through
dozens
the
of
mud?
times. I'm the one that told you don't, I'm the one that told you don't bother with chickens. You're wasting your money.
The middle can be dug out and put chippings.
So we've got a
Take it
proposal.
off and then come back with a better solution.
Okay, Jonathan.
Remove it, that's my proposal.
Is it you seconding the proposal? Or are you saying you agree with it?
Are we allowed to revisit this after the 6 months gone by? Which
No.
will be 18 months by now.
No, it's not gone by.
Philip is right that we originally passed.
We did, yeah.
We originally resolved to do it, but then it was brought back to the council, and the council agreed at that point that Clive. So the council hasn't sort of disobeyed its own resolution, if you like.
The reason we're in this predicament is because we didn't carry out the resolution in the first
Straight
place.
away.
Yes,
Well, you've been wasting your money.
definitely.
Can I, Diane? Do you mind if I cut you off?
To the point
Ugh.
of actually ask to
God's
move
sake.
on to 9.4. It's been proposed and seconded. Please, can we vote on it?
I've given you, it says there, to receive update, right? And I've given you one. Right? I've had an email from the clerk 2 days since, which has... Christine, can I just speak? I had an email from the clerk 2 days since, asking for an update for you. I have sent that back to the clerk. Whether that's got to you or not, it's not my business. I've given you an update as to why it's not happened. I've had various other things to do as well. I'm not solely confined to Anston Parish Council. I've got other issues as well in my life that I've had to take care of. So I'm giving you my update. If you'd wanted me to take all the staff off there are other things that staff have been taken up with in the last few weeks, where they've had to be in different places. I'm trying to do it as best I can. There's no point doing it when the ground's frozen or trying to do anything like that. You've got to pick and choose your time when you can do it. I wanted to speak to the staff, have a look what they thought was the best option, given what we've got. There's no point in the council spending about £1,000, whatever, and something that's going to wash away in 6 months' time, because you'll all be coming back complaining then as to why you did that. So I'm trying to get you the best deal, but obviously that's not good enough. So if you don't want me to continue with it, fine, I'll walk away. You do it. You do it.
Can I move that we proceed to the vote? So the proposal that we've got on the table is that we strike it off the agenda by simply receiving it. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 6, 4. And against? 5. So it's carried.
Larry's speech struck off.
Does that mean it's gone forever?
Yeah, no, come back with the
It's received.
It's received. That's all we've done.
All we've said is it's received.
Right.
We just
Can I
received
just, so I can interrupt, right. The proposal was to strike it off the agenda.
Yeah, by receiving it.
And that's what you've just done. You've received it and struck it off. So to answer your question, Christine, it's now struck off. So if you need the issue to be raised again, you will have to put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
I'm not in the world today.
So am I.
Don't blame you.
That makes 2 of us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's probably the best time.
Can I just ask, I know you wanted to take, can I just ask we do 9-4, so you can get that one out of the way?
Yeah, I'll tell you answer to 9-4 straight away. It's gone, consultation finished, it's going to be called Brookfield Moves. Thank you and good night. Yeah. That's it. That's as much as you need to know.
Thank you very much.
All right? There you go.
All right. So are we happy to receive that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So who made that decision?
Considering it's already been done, I don't think there's any
Who
point
made
in
that
voting.
decision?
RMBC have with Post Office. They asked for names, I submitted one, and probably Jonathan did, I don't know. It was sent to council, they've decided Brookfield Mills is what it's going to be called, and that's it, end of consultation. Move on, thank you and good night.
Okay, I'd like to go to, because we've got quite a lot to cover in confidential, it's 8 minutes past. Can I go to item 12 to resolve to...
Stand on a point of order, I'm sorry to interrupt. I've just been pointed out, we've just had a proposal, let's have a look at my copy, and it says here, to receive an update from a senior, sorry, my mistake, where am I looking at, number...
9-2. Yeah, no, sorry.
9-3.
Yeah.
It says to receive an update from Councillor Jepson, etc., etc. So it's to receive an update. So my point of order is, and I'm looking at Jonathan, when we received an update on Crowgate, Jonathan, you objected to it. No, this is not getting at you, this is just an example of why I'm bringing a point of order. You objected when we received an update and basically said we couldn't pass a resolution. So we've now just passed a resolution on a receipt to update. So I would argue now at this point, that resolution we've just passed is, in your words, illegal.
We received... Do you mind if I clarify?
No, I'm raising it on a point of order. I'm giving you an answer because you seem to think you're getting picked on, right? I raise it as a point of order. It's a perfectly reasonable point of order, and I was using your example as an example, which is quite reasonable, do you not think? I couldn't use somebody else's example because you were the example.
Just want to say, I didn't actually second that item, I didn't vote on it, so really it's...
Doesn't make a difference. You can't get out of it after the fact.
Really.
It's referring back to your example.
9-3.
I made a point of order.
And I support your point of order.
Yeah, can I just clarify the wording there? So the proposal was to get it struck off the agenda by receiving the update, which is what we did. By receiving it, it's left off the agenda. It's written down here to strike off the agenda by receiving the update.
Right, but it says to receive. And when we had the issue over Crowgate, it was quite clearly stated and voted on by this council, which was an illegal vote. It was voted that you cannot make proposals on the wording to receive. Whether you like it or not, it's right. No, this is the point I was making before in an email to, I think it was yourself and the clerk. We have no now clarification of when councillors can make or cannot make proposals. Can we make it on when it says to approve, to consider, to discuss, to receive? But it's quite clear that we cannot make any proposals on the wording to receive.
It was in terms of a decision.
That is correct, Stuart.
We can propose to receive. We have to
No, you
propose
can't,
to
because
receive.
the proposal I made over Kroger...
We have to make a proposal to receive.
Can I just to move on, because the
Yep.
point's been made, we haven't an answer, it's something I may take up with the chairman later, or will seek advice from the Alcon.
Yeah, we have an answer.
But we'll move on. I was making a point of order.
Okay. Quite correctly. So to item 12, to resolve to adjourn the meeting in order to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting. Public, carry on.
Where did we get to?
Probably 35 minutes discussion of that. Going back to an item,
Is that it?
a question that I asked council quite a few months ago. Has anybody asked the question why so much money is being spent on a railway to Anston, where very little use at the moment? And all the comments you put down against the party are all about road issues. You don't think for 1 minute that transportation of stone would be done by rail? And the other thing is, can anybody name any major projects that might come up in the next 12 months or 2 years for this quarry to survive? Because the only one that there is HS2.
Can I answer that?
About another 10 years.
Right. Just to answer the question. Just to answer the question. Quite right. We were the main part of the discussion, Christy. The main part of the discussion was about the road. We've identified. Yeah, there's a problem with quarry, and I personally don't have a problem with the actual quarry, and I said that. The council have made a decision, and I think most of us were in agreement that there is a problem with that section of road. That's why we've objected on the grounds of the road. We've not actually objected on the grounds of the actual quarrying. Going on the railway, I didn't quite understand what you said about the railway. The railway has nothing to do with us. It's not the maintenance or direction.
If you don't understand, let me explain. The amount of money that's been spent on the railway through Anston, HS2 is running quite close. Materials will be used to build HS2, and that rail link could be used from that quarry to build HS2. You're not going to do the links.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with that, because you don't know that and I don't know that, because that decision hasn't been made. But what I'm saying is, that railway...
In that report that they've said that it is very low, the amount of traffic...
Sorry, what was low?
In the report that Drew got, they did state that the explanation for traffic is very minimal. It's not. That's because at a later date they'll come to you and say, well, the reason for this railway is to transport stone for HS2.
The point I made was the traffic from there will not be minimal. I've made an estimation of at least 10,000 lorry journeys. That's at least, and that's not including return journeys. I see the point, but at the moment we can't take HS2 into consideration because that line's not being finalised. There is another project that may affect that. If what the quarrying is stone rather than gravel, but I think it's what? Is it limestone? There was crushing it for gravel before, but it's possible some of that stone could be going for the repair project for the Houses of Parliament in the next 10 years. But the main objection was on the grounds of traffic. I, for one, I'm quite sure that quarry will go ahead, because I think somebody said, and quite rightly, it's a massive source. I've got the terminology. It's a massive source of mineral wealth, mineral infrastructure in the area. And the argument on appeal, if people objected on the actual quarrying, the argument on appeal would come back would be it's a strategic mineral resource, and there's nowhere else in Rotherham Borough that they can find it, and they will pass the planning decision. I don't doubt for one moment that's going to get passed.
We all know where you're going to happen, I can show you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is you spend 35 minutes at council time.
It's going to be a big impact.
SSI sites and road problems.
Yeah,
some of
quite
them will be travelling by rail anyway.
No, that stone is not proposed to go by rail. I missed that point. That stone is not going by rail; it's going by a lorry load. Even if it's down to the motorway, the rail.
All lanes will be finished before that lorry opens, Stuart. That's what I'm asking you. Do you know of any major work where that stone could be going local? Because I can tell you several
Not local.
that would be in perimeter of this area.
Right. So to answer your question, at this point, there's no knowledge. We've not no knowledge of any stone being moved by rail at all. It's all going to be moved by road.
Okay, can I move on? We spent a few minutes on that. I know Clive did want to say something, but do you mind, Clive, if we just...
No, it's all right.
If we just move on. If anybody has any questions for Clive, feel free to ask those after the meeting. Any other points from members of the public? Okay, thank you very much. Can I move to item 13, to resolve to exclude the press and public due to the confidential nature of the business to be transacted?
Can I propose that we resolve to exclude the press and public from the meeting to discuss the items identified previously and for the reasons quoted in that identification?
Thanks, Paul. All those in favour? Confidential session. Sorry, you need to stick your hands up. Thank you. Yeah. Otherwise, people will complain that the vote wasn't properly recorded. Okay. Thank you very much.
Can I just say, while they're down there, can you just tell me if there's some gibberish? Well, this